Test, test. 1, 2, 1, 2. Loud? Yeah, I'm not surprised. For some reason, I had it like... I can turn it down at my end. How's it sounding? Yes. Testing, testing. 1, 2, 1, 2. 1, 2. Cool. Oh my god, that is so loud in my ears. Jesus. Wow. How did I... Two of New South Wales' top flight mainstays going head-to-head for the right to end the weekend inside the top six. You couldn't ask for a much better way to round out round 12 in NPL New South Wales. It is Sydney Olympic taking on Manly United. It's live from Valentine's Sports Park, and it should be a very entertaining clash for your Sunday afternoon viewing. Of course, the inclement weather forcing a change in venue for this one. We've moved from Belmore to Valentine, but it is a change of venue that the home side, Sydney Olympic, or the nominal home side at least, will not mind one bit. They have not lost at this venue in over a year. They've lost just once here since 2015, can you believe? And they've scored 5 goals on each of their last 2 visits to the venue. One of those coming in the Cup, 5-2 against St George FC a couple of weeks ago. That is 1/5 of a fantastic run of form they currently find themselves in. 5 games unbeaten across league and cup meetings, riding high off the back of a 3-0 win against the formerly undefeated, formerly top of the table NWS Spirit, and it is a consistent patch of form that Laban O'Haley's side will look to continue today, and it is consistency that Manly United continue to desperately search for in season 2025. The competition's Jekyll and Hyde side not showing any signs of shaking off that moniker in the last couple of weeks. That 6-0 headline-making win against Wollongong Wolves 3 weeks ago feels a world away after back-to-back defeats to Apia and the Wanderers respectively as we get set to kick off. It doesn't get any easier for them against a Sydney Olympic side they haven't beaten in over 988 days. The major semi-final back in 2022, which was an absolute barn burner. Bruno Mendes scoring in the 121st minute of extra time to set up penalties from which Manly United emerged victorious and booked their place in the grand final. And it's that sort of spirit that they will need to channel if they are going to return to the winner's circle, Patrick Zwanswijk's men today. And they've got the aid of an early free kick to be taken by Levi Kay, and they're the only side who make a change going into this afternoon's action. Just the solitary one, Ben Coop, who scored in that penalty shootout we were just discussing back in 2022. Not only drops out of the starting lineup from that defeat to Apia, but out of the squad altogether. His replacement is the man you find on the football, Tiger Kawanyo, who gets the shot away, and you might notice a couple of slightly different numbers to which he used to. Kawanyo has been listed as 13 previously, wearing 15 today. I believe, if my memory is correct, this is actually the first time all season that Manly United wear their away kit, the change strip of white. They have been rare, infrequent travellers this season, and not particularly fruitful travellers either. Just 4 points taken from a possible 9 going into this, their 4th away meeting of season 2025. Olympic have been betwixt and between at home, but as you mentioned, very fearsome of late at Valentine Sports Park as one of just the 3 players in Manly's squad remaining from the last time they were able to secure victory against Sydney Olympic. Alan Naganovic get things going forward. Lucas Meek chips it in behind. Tiger Kawanyo couldn't get there in time, and Jack Gibson can make the claim. Here is Ziggy Gordon in the centre of defence alongside Donny Guric, 2 former Wanderers making up the back 4 as Cyrus Demi tries to slip the last line, and the flag doesn't come up. This is a huge chance early for Cyrus Demi, who just loves a goal at Valentine Sports Park. Olympic off to a hot start, and Cyrus Demi, it's his 8th Olympic goal. It's his 5th here at Valentine Sports Park. And it was Easy as you like for Olympics number 9. And Sydney Olympic, looking to go 6 games unbeaten in all competitions, are off to the perfect start. It was a fantastic ball over the top to release Demi, who timed his run to perfection. And he got a few nice touches on the ball to leave Vaganovic for dead. And the finish unerring past Levi Kay into the bottom corner. And he hasn't long been in NPL New South Wales, but I dare say he's already identified a favourite hunting ground. Scored 2 here in the Cup against St George FC. His first 2 goals for Sydney Olympic came at their other league meeting at Valentine Sports Park this season against the Sutherland Sharks. And now within minutes in the final game of round 12, it's Cyrus Demi who swiftly breaks the deadlock and leaves Manly United with plenty of work to do. Ziggy Gordon launches that one up the line, and Labano Haliti will be absolutely delighted with where his side currently sit. It's been Manly who have had the bulk of the ball so far, but we know how good Olympic can be when they break quickly. That lay down not quite up to Cyrus Demi's usual best. Big shoes to fill up top for Olympic, of course, in the wake of Roy O'Donovan's retirement. 4 goals now in the league, 8 in all comps. Demi is starting to deliver. Kay off his line quickly and clearing. Work to do potentially for Lucas Meek, but Gurditch first to the task. Well controlled that by Seth Clark. And already Olympic off to another lightning start this season. It's the 7th, or rather the 6th goal they've scored in the opening 15 minutes of games. And we know what a good side they can be when they defend from the front. Only 9 goals conceded this season. That's a figure that only Marconi can better. Olympic having, of course, played 1 game less than the rest of the competition, all bar the Central Coast Mariners. They look to double their advantage inside 6 minutes. It's a great delivery, and Gurditch's header just rising rather than dipping its way towards goal, but more joy in attacking phases for Olympic. Parkhouse, well won high up the field by Olympic, and Parkhouse will look to turn provider again. A tantalising cross, and Quoll was rising. But I fancy O'Driscoll might have just got the final touch in there to take the sting out of it for Levi Kay. Belcardi clip from behind, and it's a quick whistle from the referee. This has been the issue for Manly early doors this season. You know that they will turn up for the game, but you're not always sure which Manly United will turn up. Their best has been absolutely devastating this season, but channeling it has proved fleeting. To put that into context, I mean, so far in season 2025, Manly find themselves with 20 goals to their name, of which I believe it's 15 have come in just 3 games. They put Mount Druitt, or 16 rather, because they put Mount Druitt and the Mariners to the sword by a tune of 5 goals to 0, and then gave the Wolves a 6-0 shellacking. So they can be absolutely devastating when they get it together, but it's proving hard to do week in, week out. And Olympic are looking a side who, after a slower start to the season, are really hitting their straps with the talents they've got at their disposal. That's ugly up and under from Josh Hong. Good thing for Manly is just the solitary goal, still plenty of time to work with, and we know that usually when they do score, they can score in numbers. That's not the best pass from Hong, who just maybe was still thinking about that poor attempted cross. And now Kawanyo, who's looked lively for Manly, can check left and right. And pop it to McCarthy at the top of the box. Now Van der Sarg, he can hit them! Oh, wow! He most certainly can hit them. Harry Van der Sarg, Manly's favourite son, returning this season and delivering another collector's item. They desperately needed that. And the former A-League player shows his quality and then some, off the post and in. Jack Gibson left with no response. That was postage stamp stuff from Harry Van der Sarg. Just delicately dropped down by Harry McCarthy, and he said, "Go on, son, you do the rest." And anyone who has watched Harry Van der Sarg's breathtaking start to his Manly return, the former junior, knows that he both can and has already done that this season. And hasn't that flipped the script at Valentine Sports Park? Harry Van der Sarg's fourth goal of the campaign on 10 minutes for Manly draws us to level pegging. And all of a sudden, it looks like we've got a real game in our hands. Parkhouse drives towards the byline, winds a left-footed ball in. And it will drop in the penalty area. Armson was lurking with intent, and there's a bit of a coming together there between Cyrus Demi and the Irishman, Aaron O'Driscoll. The referee is going to give them both a talking to here. Of course, had a lively battle so far. It's a battle of which Demi has had the better thus far, of course, the opening scorer. And for those who, again, might be confused, Manly's first time in the change away strip today. Aaron O'Driscoll, usually number 2, wearing number 33 today. So I don't know whether that is a permanent change from both he and Tiger Kawanyo, or maybe Manly just forgot to print off a shirt with number 2. I'm not sure. Your guess is as good as mine, but that is definitely Aaron O'Driscoll. Here he is on the ball. He has played every single minute since signing from Altona Magic in NPL Victoria. Van der Sarg looking to get things going from deep. Kawanyo. And a long searching ball. He's going to drop at the feet of a man upon whom there'll be a lot of interested eyes today, Darcy Burgess. A long-time servant of Sydney Olympic. 8 years, over 150 appearances, and a few trophies sprinkled in there too. Looking to impress against his previous employers. It's a good pass from him too for Rocco Pele. Pele. Back to Van der Sarg, whose delightful goal brings us level. The cross, not a bad one. Kawanyo! What a turnaround from Manly! Patrick Zwanswijk's side have turned this game on its head in a matter of minutes. And Harry van der Sarg has a hand in it all. A super goal to equalise. And then a brilliant assist for Tiger Kiwanyo, whose strike was firm and true past Jack Gibson. And all of a sudden, everything we thought we'd seen in the opening 5 minutes, where you can tear it up and throw it away, because Manly United lead by 2-1. And all of a sudden, it is Sydney Olympic who have work to do. Well, it feels like nothing could sum up the high ceiling, low floor nature of this Manly team than this opening 15 minutes. Carved open with ease for the opener for Cyrus Demi. And then a handful of moments of just irrepressible quality from Van der Sarg as both scorer and provider. Shows just how good they can be at their best. It was a great finish as well from Tiger Kiwanyo. Back on the score sheet after a few weeks where Patrick Zwanswijk's outfit have found the goals hard to come by. Pele wins out initially, but Zoricic has afforded that fairly easily to Kiwanyo. Van der Sarg. A goal and an assist already inside 13 minutes. Darcy Burgess, his influence has grown on the game, and that cross is easy pickings for Gurditch. Parkhouse got a little bit cute, and Burgess wins the ball back. Van der Sarg twisting and turning, shooting again. It's a good save that time from Gibson to turn it over for a corner. Well, it might have taken 2 games with not much to write home about. But it looks like the Manly United side, who put Wollongong Wolves to the sword in a 6-goal win, their attacking force might be back, as that is flicked over the goal frame, and Burgess will pick up the pieces at the back post. And manages to fashion a cross in. O'Driscoll was in the area, but couldn't make anything of it. And Meek displays his palms to the assistant referee, but I'm not sure he can have too many complaints, the American, coming back from an offside position. Three goals for Lucas Meek in season 2025. His debut campaign in NPL New South Wales, the American. Still searching for a first goal on the road, though. And in fairness to him, Manly had been searching for more goals on the road, generally speaking. Only 3 scored going into tonight. Only 3 scorers of away goals going into tonight. I've changed both of those tallies in fairly swift sequence at Valentine Sports Park. And we know that it's always that first goal that proves the sticking point for Manly. You get the feeling that both of these sides are teams who generally like to defend from the front, or defend from in front. And the numbers do tell us that once Manly score 1, they will generally score another. And so it has followed in this game. And often when they're scoring multiple goals in a fixture, they are going on to win it. Meek found in space. Back to O'Driscoll. And O'Donoghue. Kawanyo now checking onto the right. Thought about the shot. Goes for it as well. And it was wayward in the end, but the joy that Manly United have had in the past couple of minutes in front of goal, in particular Tiger Kawanyo, you cannot blame the Japanese attacker for trying to ride the hot hand. Sydney Olympic fans ask questions of whether or not there should have been a foul for Cyrus Demi. Nothing doing from the referee. Gordon wins that one in the air. Hong. Back by Seth Clark. Ravino Haliti is up on his feet now, instructing his troops. It will be a Manly throw for Rocco-Pelle. Yeah, high foot from Harry McCarthy. Travelling to Valentine Sports Park today. Of course, they are the home team. Travelling Olympic fans want a card. They won't get it, but Donny Gurditch will get some attention. We have a number of players out there today who lay claim to A-League experience, and look, we've had a quality game so far with 3 goals, each quality in their own way, and perhaps it's no surprise when you consider that there is, I believe, a good 210 games of A-League experience out there this evening. 9 players who have called the A-League home in the past. Cyrus Demi making up 26 of those. Harry van der Sarg making up 61. And indeed it is those two who have had a big hand in some of the great football we've seen so far in this game. As Manly United hope that today might be the day they will defeat Sydney Olympic for the first time in nearly 1,000 days. A hopeful flick from Demi, nothing doing further afield. And well won back by McCarthy. Manly moving with some real purpose. Wide for Meek. O'Donoghue providing the supporting run. And he just got confused himself in the end there, I think, with the fancy footwork. It's allowed Hong to get in and cover, and Sydney Olympic able to force Manly into a momentary retreat. Van der Sarg, McCarthy. Those two having a little game between themselves. Belcardi. And Meek not quite in the right position, so Sydney Olympic managing to work that defensive phase fairly well in the end. Watch forward by Gibson. Second ball will be picked up nicely by Qual. who is now harassing and haranguing Tiger Kawanyo. Aganovich. It's been a long time between drinks in this fixture for Manly United, and in the NPL era, it's not necessarily been one of their favoured opponents by any stretch. 23 meetings since the NPL began back in 2013. Sydney Olympic claiming victory 11 times to Manly's 6th. Demi uses the body well, and it's a clever touch to take him into space. Just pops it to Armson, who sets Seth Clark on his way, and the ball in between the lines just won't pick out Parkhouse, but it wasn't far away. Good ideas in possession from Olympic. It's a great ball, albeit into a dangerous area if it gets turned over by Aganovich, but it doesn't. McCarthy did well. Pele inside to Darcy Burgess. And a booming switch to find Kawanyo. Meek stops and props. And that cross will deflect out for a corner. And after taking the lead, Manly, you could argue that possessional ascendancy, and probably the better of the chance creation as well, has followed thereafter. It's a camp of blue and white shirts in front of Jack Gibson. As Vandersark's corner delivery is punched away. Glance would probably be more accurate to describe that from Jack Gibson. McCarthy. Such a good player at his best, and he's leading the defenders on a merry dance. McCarthy squares it in. For the advancing Kopele, who had a wry smile, as I think he knew that he didn't really get the desired purchase on that one. Oh, that's a nice ball. Further forward. Oh, and it's a strong sliding challenge. Big decision from the referee, and he says all ball. Zach Soricic, the player, felled, and all legal in the eyes of the officiating team. Goodrich. Robbed of the ball by Meek, but illegally. Says assistant referee Charbel Geha. Sydney Olympic caught in possession again. McCarthy nearby. Meek was hovering. Sydney Olympic rid the danger. And a rare chance perhaps to spring one of their counter-attacks that we know can be so dangerous. Haven't seen much of Michael Varkis so far. He's done well to win a free kick. And taken quickly. Varkis drives it in. It's repelled by the Manly defence. It can be so strong when they've got something to defend. They won't be adding to their tally of 5 clean sheets for the season, but they are better in that mark than any other side in the comp. This one drops for Clark. A couple of clever touches, and now Armson. And lofts it to Zoricic, who was perfectly positioned and has plenty to aim at. Might go himself, instead feeds Armson. Didn't catch it how he would have hoped. the midfield star for Sydney Olympic. It hasn't quite, at least in terms of goals and assists, reached the heights that we know Jack Armson is capable of reaching in his time at Apia. So 10 combined goals and assists at least in every season of NPL he's played. Just 2 goals and 1 assist so far since making the switch to Belmore for season 2025. Well judged that by Aganovic. Zoricic manages to flick it forward for Clark, whose touch was intelligent. Parkhouse had to get back to an onside position. Belcardi was there before the 32-year-old could do anything with it. Olympic will get a very deep throw, though. Looks as though it'll be a long one from the ex-Mariners, Zach Zoricic. And it is indeed a long one. Dropped into a great area and nearly struck into the goal. Manly United did not deal with that one well at all. He got fantastic purchase on that. Off the hands did Zach Zoricic, and it fell into a really awkward area where you question whether or not Levi K should maybe be coming to punch away. By hook or by crook, United managed to deal with the danger. Ten Quoll tried to control it and lay it down for Cyrus Demi, whose shot was blocked, but it could have been a much more dangerous situation than it ended up being for Manly. So those who were hoping for an entertaining finish to round 12 have gotten exactly that in the first half hour of action here at Valentine Sports Park. Olympic led inside the opening 5 minutes through Cyrus Demi. Only for Manly United to flip the script. 2 cracking goals in as many minutes from Harry van der Sarg and Tiger Kawanyo. They've sent us to where we are now. Manly in a position of ascendancy. And the onus on Olympic. Another monster throw from Zoricic. And the second ball falls perfectly to Demi, whose feet were fantastic. Cyrus Demi at the double. And Sydney Olympic might just have another quality number 9 on their hands, because that was brilliant from Cyrus Demi. He took on all comers and slipped it comfortably past Levi K again. And it is another goal at Valentine Sports Park for Cyrus Demi. And a 5th of his debut campaign in NPL New South Wales. And that was one of his best. There were shades of his fantastic solo goal against the Sutherland Sharks last time out in the league at Valentine Sports Park, in that one where he picked the ball up a long way away from goal and managed to just dribble it past a number of defenders. But the footwork there was just sensational. It was a great goal from Olympic. Chested down nicely for him by Qual, and he left Aaron O'Driscoll and Alan Naganovich for dead with both the quality of his touch and the speed of his run. Vakis. Parkhouse in space. Is there a fifth goal of this first half? A Sydney Olympic retaking the lead. Zoricic lifts the ball in at the back post. The header is saved by Levi Kay. But the Olympic fans are loving this response. It was Ten Qual who was crashing in at the back post. Just couldn't generate enough purchase and power to thwart Levi Kay. Van der Sarg. Pelle has to do a full pirouette to meet the ball that was just a fraction behind him. From the ex-Sydney FC, Adelaide United and Brisbane Roar man doesn't get the chance to take on one of his former teammates tonight in Connor O'Toole. Gibson heads that one away. And backing himself to deal with whatever was going to be offered up on the bounce. O'Toole, of course, not listed tonight. One back legally by Manly. McCarthy was round one challenge, but not a second. Good hustle that time by Seth Clark. O'Donoghue. O'Driscoll to Aganovich, and Manly just taking a chance to catch a breath in this breakneck first 45. Been a while since we've seen a proper goal fest when these two sides have gone head to head. Two-all draw back in 2023, but you sense there are more goals on the way here as Zoricic crosses that into the body of the defender who was Darcy Burgess. Armson, the space opens up for Armson! Well, he caught that one sweetly. And in the end, it'll be a goal kick, but he was finding the radar, Jack Armson, with his askew shot earlier. Definitely got the eye in now, and even though it was past the goal frame of Levi Kay, and in fact the corner has now been awarded, so the eye is definitely in because Levi Kay was called into action. And a fine piece of action it was from the Manly custodian. So a corner to come for Olympic, and a decent one at that, but Manly heads first to the football. Armson contests well aerially. But it's McCarthy who is able to just lump it away. But we haven't seen more than 4 goals in a game between Sydney Olympic and Manly United since August 21st, 2020. When Manly came back from behind to win it in the 86th minute, thanks to Jordan DeVries. The man who's giving chase there, Adam Parkhouse, scoring twice against his old side, of course. Former Manly star. Bit of fun between Rocco Pele and some of the Sydney Olympic supporters. As the pressure pays for Olympic again. Demi for Armson. Oh, and the inch-perfect pass. Well, it was nearly inch-perfect from Armson to Adam Parkhouse. Darcy Burgess looking to pick out the run of Lucas Meek, who is having a troublesome battle so far in this first half with timing his runs against the last line of Olympics defence. Clark, Parkhouse. Zoricic bombed forward and receives and keeps going. Another big appeal from the Olympic supporters. Labano Haliti was on the pitch to protest the case of the home side. But it meets the same end result as the previous appeal. No penalty. And now Manly come the other way. This would leave a sour taste in the mouth. The first time ball was one that had Lucas Meek off and chasing. And after all of that, the only player sanctioned is Jack Armson, who picks up a yellow ticket, I believe, for some feedback on the earlier decision, which of course you can go and scrub back and watch on replay if you're watching at home on NPL New South Wales's YouTube page. And it was the two 12s who came together. Rocco Pele and Zach Zoricic. And the referee probably had a better angle of it than we did, but it, have to say, on first glance, didn't look like the Manly United defender got a whole heap of the ball. The referee's decision final. And the two meaningful decisions are cards for Jack Armson and Labano Haliti at the end of all of that. It's a shallow clearance. But Sydney Olympic able to make it work through Parkhouse. And these are the breaks that we know they love so much. Vakis. A little angled ball. Parkhouse using his pace. The cross blocked by the Manly United defence. This has been quite the first half of football at Valentine Sports Park. Competitive game, quality goals, fantastic build-up, and a little bit of drama sprinkled in there from the neutral. Deep ball headed towards goal and away in the end. So Olympic will have a second crack. Armson. It's the same end result. McCarthy. That was clever from McCarthy. Just letting the ball bounce and buying his teammates some time. Van der Sar, he was looking to go far more direct. And Vakis was back to do the defensive work. Gordon. Seth Clark nearly turned into trouble, but Demi had dropped off nicely from the front line to help make up the numbers in midfield. Armson. They're passing the ball about really nicely now, Olympic. They've regained their composure as Vakis strives towards goal. But it's turned away by Manly again. And you wondered, given the effectiveness of his long throw earlier, whether Zach Zoricic might be sent across for duties at the opposite end, but it's a chance to see what Josh Hong has got at his disposal, and I dare say this one's going to be a little shorter. It is. Clark back to Hong. Fashions the cross in, but no one really arriving where it was landing. Searching ball, Parkhouse. A decision that, as you can probably hear on the effects mic, leaves a little bit of spite in the mouths and feelings of Sydney Olympic supporters. Adam Parkhouse adjudged to be the guilty party in that pocket of the field that has seen so much drama in this first half. Van der Sarg. A little bit too cute. That one was a bit more rugged, and it worked. Meek. Couldn't find Harry McCarthy. And Belcardi, the best he could do was just a bit of a half-pregnant side foot away. Soricic, lovely use of the body by Teng Kuol, and Demi's touch was heavy as he sized up what could be a first half hat-trick. It sounds insane, but he's been good enough to merit it so far, Cyrus Demi. And we have seen it in NPL New South Wales in recent weeks. Ali Oglar getting a hat-trick in the space of about 12 first half minutes last week in that 8-1 win for Rockdale against the Wanderers. It's been a far more even affair than that at Valentine Sports Park, and it's somehow a first half hat-trick for Demi. Still holding just as much potential, although we are into first half stoppage time. As the break materializes for Olympic again, that pass was betwixt and between, and so now Hong, who was trying to maraud forward to join the attack, has now got to double back to do some defending. Is there one last twist in the tail of a scintillating first 45? Burgess. Pele. Belcardi. Olympic set it in there. 4-4-2 block. The onus on Manly to try and pick the gap. Back to Belcardi, and you can't help but wonder after the freneticism of this first half if both teams are just content to head into the break at 2 goals apiece. Well, hold the phone, because Seth Clark has got some ideas about that. And he will win a late free kick in this first half for Olympic. And there will be a ticket at the end of this. It's going to be a bit of a callback to the 2010 World Cup as well with the Vuvuzela. It's Bilal Belcardi who becomes the third person, second outfielder to earn a spot in the referee's pocketbook. Labino Haliti, the Olympic head coach, of course, the other. And so this is a tantalizing situation here, because we've got Teng Kuol standing over the ball, who scored a couple of scorching free kicks last season in his debut campaign for Panhellenic. And we've got Adam Parkhouse, a former Manly player who hasn't scored against his old team since 2020. A real hush over Valentine Sports Park. As it is Kuol, and it's in to the wall. It does its job, but it might have come at some personal cost to a Manly player. Harry van der Sarg is the player who copped the brunt of that one, so, well, despite the salacious setup, it's a bit of a letdown, that free kick situation in the end. Look, when you've had 4 goals in a first half as good as the goals have been in this one, all bets are sort of off. Anything's possible. And that free kick was certainly looking like that at some point. There's this stoppage in play. Thankfully, we'll see Harry van der Sarg return to his feet, so that's very good news if you're a Manly United supporter. Hopefully, no need to bring his day to an end, because we are slightly lighter on the bench today. United, with both Peter Kakaris and Ben Coop not making the squad. This has the energy and feel of Olympics searching for a late winner, and yet we're only getting towards the halftime break. Armson, right-footed bender, turned away by the Manly defence once more. They have had their work cut out for them in the final 15 minutes of this first half. Seesawing affair that is now into its 6th minute of additional time in the first half. As that is a shot from distance, and not a bad one. And it gives us a chance to breathe. What an opening 45 in the final game of round 12. Well, we head into the sheds as we started, with both teams level. But that, boy, does it ever not tell the full story. "45 minutes played, and Sydney Olympic and Manly United have so far played out an absolute barn burner, and the action got going from as early as 5 minutes, where Cyrus Demi scored the first of what would be 2 goals for Olympics number 9, bookending a incredible 4-minute run for Manly, who turned a 1-0 deficit into a 2-1 advantage on the 14th minute mark, courtesy of a screamer of a goal from Harry van der Sarg, and then a quality equaliser from Tiger Kawanyo. And of course, Demi was not to be denied on the 33rd minute for his brace, and a 6th goal here at Valentine Sports Park. And the best news is, if you're watching at home, there are still 45 minutes to come in what's been a cracking clash so far. All to play for on the other side of the break. The halftime score from Valentine Sports Park: Sydney Olympic 2, Manly United 2. 45 minutes to play, and all still to play for at Valentine Sports Park. And if the second stanza that awaits is anything like what preceded it, then strap in if you're watching on at home, because there is every evidence that round 12 of NPL New South Wales was, is, and will be going out with a bang. 2-2 the score as we await the recommencement of play for the second half between Sydney Olympic and Manly United. Of course, both sides fighting to take that final place in the top 6 to end the weekend. Olympic only need a draw. Manly would need to come back from behind again, because it was a goal fest the first half. Cyrus Demi got Olympic on the board after 4 minutes, and just as it seemed like Olympic's solid form was going to continue, Manly put two fingers to the script that looked like it was unfolding at Valentine Sports Park. Harry van der Sarg and Tiger Kawanyo scoring 2 goals in the space of 4 minutes to hand Manly a previously unlikely lead before Cyrus Demi secured a brace. Just 19 minutes later to set us up for what should be a cracking second stanza. And there could be another fast start as Kilwanyo twists and turns, ambles towards goal, tries to tee up an advancing Van der Sarg at the top of the penalty area. And that is punted away by Levi Kay. And if you are only just joining us for the second half, of course, plenty of other games unfolding today around the grounds. We do, of course, have the luxury of rewinding on the streams on NPL New South Wales YouTube. And if you haven't seen the goals from the first half, definitely worth going back and watching all of them. Each of them easy on the eye in their own way, but Harry van der Sarg's bending shot in off the post past Jack Gibson on 10 minutes, definitely the one to watch. I mean, even if you have seen the first half and you've seen all the goals, they're worth going back and watching again anyway. I'm sure a few observers did exactly that at the halftime interval. And of course, that wasn't even the full story. It is level in this game, but there were a number of raucous penalty appeals from Sydney Olympic. We'll look to get the job done regardless, penalty or not. Parkhouse. Easy pickings in the end for Levi Kay, just lacking a bit of purchase. But for all who were hoping that the exuberance of the 4-goal first half is going to continue into the second, the signs are good so far, even if that pass is not the best. It's been an exciting end to a fantastic day of football around the grounds in NPL New South Wales. Marconi 2-0 winners at Lambert Park in the Derby d'Italia against Apia. Blacktown winning a 3-2 thriller against Sydney United, and a real upset is brewing at the Illingdon Sports Centre. Today's home away from home for the Mariners, as it's an offside call against Tiger Kawanyo, who was in no hurry to return the ball to Sydney Olympic, where Central Coast Youth Academy, playing as the home team but away from home against the reigning premiers Rockdale, lead 2-1 after 53 minutes played. But of course, anyone who's watched any of Rockdale knows that a lead after 53 minutes played against them is no guarantee of a result at full time. The competition's comeback kings. as Olympic have nearly played their way into trouble. Burgess scrapping to win that football back, nothing doing in the end. And the other game of today's 5-fixture slate is currently going on in the Gong, where Mount Druitt lead 1-0 at the halftime interval, courtesy of Johnny Azar. Parkhouse. Nice lateral ball for Demi, who looks to return the favour and asks a lot of Parkhouse, but he's able to get onto it. And now it's stood up towards the back post, and Manly in the end able to bundle it away from danger. It was Josh Hong who was flying forward to make his presence felt. Vakis. Strong sliding challenge. And no whistle again from the referee as that coming together transpires, with Tiger Kawanyo rifling in to do his defensive duties for Manly. Flicked towards the top of the box. Lumped clear. And dropped perfectly into the lap of Harry McCarthy, but his touch fleeting at the crucial moment. Vakis meets the same end result. Five goals in 11 games now for Cyrus Demi. In the league, 9 in all competitions. As Manly can't afford the little flick. Kawanyo drops it down! Oh, wow! What a moment for Manly. Another super strike from the visiting side. And Darcy Burgess, against his old team, makes his mark against Olympic. And trouble was brewing for Panhellenic. It was delicately laid down by Tiger Kawanyo, and that was a script that almost felt pre-written. Darcy Burgess, who was a title winner with Olympic, 8 years at the football club, 150 appearances, scores in style in his first game against them. It was Olympic off to a hot start in the first 45, and in the second stanza, Manly give Labino Halidi's men a taste of their own medicine. And Darcy Burgess will be absolutely ecstatic with that. They scored in this fixture for Olympic against Manly. It's a marauding run from Harry McCarthy and a free kick going the way of Manly. For a player who left Sydney Olympic, Darcy Burgess, in search of more game time, he is getting exactly that, and Patrick Zwanswijk is being rewarded with a player who is delivering in front of goals in Darcy Burgess. Only one last season, already up to 4. Speaking of people on 4 goals, Harry van der Sarg has already scored a super goal at VSP today. Can he double the dose from the dead ball? It's Harry van der Sarg. It's never really dipping. And a few Olympic players, supporters rather, with Bronx cheers on offer. And it is Labino Haliti who's first to blink on the bench with a substitution. Michael Vakis leaves to a round of applause, and Dylan Ruiz-Diaz will be hoping that he can deliver off the bench again, but there might be more danger in the offing. Darcy Burgess, a firm block in the Pan-Hellenic defence. Kawanyo, searching switch, stood up and dipping dangerously. Off the boot of Stephen O'Donoghue. Dylan Ruiz-Diaz hoping to build on the brace he scored in midweek against Arncliffe Aurora. Progression to the next round of the Cup for Olympic in front of a fantastic crowd at Arncliffe Park. There was over 2,000 in attendance. Ruiz-Diaz did score a brace in Olympics' last leg trip to Valentine Sports Park. And they're going to need to find another level if they are to come back from behind again. We didn't quite know what to expect. Going into this matchup between two sides who can score, but tend to score in volumes. We mentioned that going into tonight's game, Manly had scored 16 of their 20 goals in just 3 games, as that's curled in and spilled by Kay. Friendly fire in the end. On that goals figure, Olympic were not far behind. 12 of their 19 goals going into tonight had come in 3 games. So when two teams who score in volumes when they score come together, this is the result. Meek couldn't bend it on target, and they both explode at the same time. You get a game like what we're getting this evening, which is currently led by Manly, courtesy of the Darcy Burgess banger. Ruiz-Diaz can't get the beating of O'Donoghue, who was adjudged to have been a fraction overzealous in his attempts to thwart 24-year-old Ruiz-Diaz. Attempts to delay the restart of Ziggy Gordon. It's a ticket for him. We've got a few players walking the tightrope now on both sides. Jack Armson picked up a ticket for referee remonstration in the first half. emphatically away by Alan Naganovich. Gibson with the up and under. And Parkhouse's touch was a heavy one. Pele. Bilal Belkadi is the other player. Manly player, that is, walking the tightrope. It's a well-intentioned switch, but no one home to receive. The other thing that augurs well for this game, Manly in particular, but Olympic too, very strong second half scorers. %75% of Manly goals going into tonight have come in the second half. They have added to that tally this evening. Olympic have scored 10 second half goals this season. They've scored quite a few late as well. So that long throw doesn't work out to the advantage of a teammate. You wonder if and when Patrick Svansvig will turn to his bench. He's a man who, when he does turn to the bench, tends to turn to it in numbers. Perennial maker of the multi-sub, bringing on more than one player at once. Well, that is really, really risky. It's calamitous! And it is an almighty reprieve for the Sydney Olympic defence. It should be 4-2. And Tiger Kiwanyo should have a brace. A completely mixed up back pass that sold Jack Gibson short. Kiwanyo headed it off at the pass, and Olympic are in danger of losing their head a little bit here. McCarthy riding the challenges, getting onto the right, and it's Gurditch who is able to make the block. I cannot believe that Tiger Kiwanyo has not managed to score that. Credit to Jack Gibson for putting the pressure on the Japanese attacker. Demi battling hard and doing enough to win a free kick. Just 15 minutes in this second half have flown by at Valentine Sports Park. We had 3 goals after 15 minutes of football in the first half. But if they are to draw level against Sydney Olympic, they need to raise their levels. They won't do it with miscontrols like that from Demi. Looks as though there's some activity on the Manly United bench, as that's picked off by Parkhouse. Kay was retreating. The needle was threaded for Ruiz Diaz, who did enough to at least pressure O'Driscoll into a corner, so it's not all for nothing. This forward foray from Sydney Olympic. We've got a corner, and it's taken short and quickly. Ruiz Diaz bends the ball in. It evades all the willing targets. Zoricic. Dropped casually over the top to Parkhouse, who wants the give and go, and just thwarted really nicely and acutely by O'Donoghue. It had to be acute. They go direct this time, Olympic. It's bending. It's awkward for Kay, who gets it away. Ruiz Diaz manages to keep the ball. Ruiz Diaz, good save by Levi Kay. Looks like Jesse Perez will be the player to enter. Parkhouse, a tantalizing ball that is watched by Kay past the post for a goal kick. Sydney Olympic not happy again. They thought that that might have had a final touch off a white shirt. And Jesse Perez, who scored on his injury return last week, he is onto the field in place of a man who was one of those Manly players who have picked up a yellow card in Matt O'Donoghue. My apologies. Ziggy Gordon. The referee was just waiting to see if any advantage was to accrue from that phase of play. No advantage materializing, so back it comes for an Olympic free kick. Apia. Olympic starting to turn the screw. Ruiz Diaz happy to watch that one out for a corner. And it's a third set piece in as many minutes for Panhellenic. Ruiz Diaz to deliver. It's a firm delivery and struck off target by Donny Gerdich, who has looked most likely in those aerial situations for Sydney Olympic. Depending on where this game is to head next, you reckon somehow both sides will be left ruining what might have been. If Olympic can't score, they'll be lamenting in their perception a missed penalty from the first half. If they get back into the game, Manly will be thinking about that Tiger Kawanyo miss. Van der Sarg picks a pass for Lucas Meek. He feeds Kawanyo. Meek was making a great run. Eventually it heads there. Meek is blocked fantastically. A great sliding challenge to save the day from Seth Clark. He's still a new face around these parts, and tackles like that will go some way to making sure the 24-year-old New Zealander is fondly remembered. Having signed from Northern New South Wales and the Edgeworth Eagles. In comes the corner from Van der Sarg, and it's over the top and out of play without real danger to that Sydney Olympic goal, which has certainly lived a more charmed life than Labano Haliti would like it to have been. Good work again by Demi Hong. Racing Perez. And eventually his exuberance falls foul of the rule book. Really important for Sydney Olympic to come away with at least a point from this game. Only tasted defeat twice this season, and it was to both of the academy sides that they faced. Can't help but think about what sort of a position they'd be in if they won those games that they should have won against, on the basis of the evidence this season, lesser opposition. Parkhouse streaming forward, Zoricic. And the back heel, maybe not what was required in this crucial moment. The loss tonight, we'll see Manly leapfrog them into the top 6 to end the weekend. And not the desired result heading into a massive game, a derby matchup with Rockdale next week. Zoricic's long throw, headed forward by Parkhouse. Manly can't deal with it. Diaz fires. I reckon this will be a game that will only get more stretched in the final 20 minutes. Olympic will throw more numbers forward, and Manly will try and counter. Not going to happen with those sorts of passes. And the second ball from clearances is going to become really important too. That's how you do it. From Alan Janovic back to his keeper, Levi Kay. Ziggy Gordon. Can the Scotsman finds an enterprising pass, so it's a safe one to Seth Clark. And Ruiz Diaz. A booming crossfield ball to flip the field and find Parkhouse. Stands up a nice cross. Demi was lurking. They've had plenty of really inviting deliveries from the flanks and from set-piece situations, have Olympic, but that latest from Demi, who, let's not forget, is on a hat-trick. Here's the latest in a series of aerial opportunities from which they haven't been able to not only not take full advantage, but even take some advantage and force Levi Kay into a save. Up and away. It was an awkward one for Gordon. Had to stretch every sinew to get ahead to it and not let it bounce at the feet of Lucas Meek. Kiwanyo, who other than the miss, has been really good today. Van der Sarg. Darcy Burgess, the winning goal scorer as things stand, slips it to Van der Sarg, tipped away by Gibson. And here comes Sydney Olympic. Demi, oh, that is really contentious from Darcy Burgess. He's still a well-liked figure at Sydney Olympic, 8 years at the club, but scoring what currently is the would-be winning goal and thwarting an opposition counter-attack with a downright agricultural challenge to stop the break. Could maybe manipulate his standings somewhat in the eyes of Pan-Hellenic fans. So the cards are slowly mounting up as Armson lofts it shallow to the top of the box. Tenqual hits the turf. Manages to keep the ball alive. Parkhouse can't find a route into the penalty area. Will they look to go long? Yes, they will, as Zach Zoricic marches up to, well, it's a trick play. They go short. Parkhouse away. Picked up again. Curled in beautifully. And Ruiz Diaz, I don't think, was expecting it to drop in his lap and maybe was caught off guard by the Manly touch. that has given rise to this Olympic corner. Well, they come back from behind again, Panhellenic. Ruiz Diaz's delivery kept alive by Gordon. Van der Sarg gets it out of the penalty area at least. Intricate pass. Ruiz Diaz. And now Seth Clark. Gordon cuts it back on the turn, and Manly, they're getting their bodies in all the right places at the moment. A double sub in the offing. For Patrick Svansweig. What sort of game will they be entering into? Kay was there, and the cross was turned towards goal and off the post. A huge scare survived for Manly United. And finally they are able to make something happen with one of those searching deliveries off the left foot of Adam Parkhouse. And it was Teng Quol who just ghosted in. Kay was caught stranded and nearly caught out. And so a double sub is how Patrick Svansweig chooses to respond. It's a return for Stefano Rossello. Enters alongside Farakoko. Ruiz Diaz. Not able to control. And the first touches for the substitute Farakoko are decent ones. To 20-year-old Stefano Rossello, who gets his first NPL appearance in 245 days. Hasn't been cited in the Manly League squad since the final round of 2024. So great to see him back out there, the young midfielder. Perez. Van der Sarg. Get the feeling a fourth Manly United goal could kill it. But Sydney Olympic are not giving up the ghost. Teng Quol couldn't make that slide rule pass work for Adam Parkhouse. And Armson overbearing. "13 minutes and change standing between Manly United and a much needed return to the winning list." Farakoko gets up. Can't head it to the advantage of a teammate. Kawanyo has moved over to the right-hand side now. Gordon, that is up but not really away. Hong gets his boot in at the right time. And Gordon just happy to marshal that one back to Gibson. So Farakoko is going to be a real threat on the left-hand side for a flagging Olympic defence who is increasingly, as they chase this game, going to have less cover to deal with. Parkhouse looking to pick out the run of Zoricic, who did well to even get within range of that with Bogdanovic and Pele for company. Well controlled by Clark. And a nice ball to find the feet of Armson. This is more like it from Olympic. Parkhouse standing it up. Quol hovering at the back stick. Manly going to make another double sub, so he loves a multiple player substitution, Patrick Svansweig. This is the 27th time he's turned to the bench this season. And of those 27 times, 19 of them now have been multiple subs, so more than one player coming off the bench. He's made more double subs than single players coming onto the field. 10 double subs, 5 triple subs, 3 quadruple subs, and I can't even believe I'm saying this, 1 quintuple sub. He brought all 5 outfield players off the bench at once against the Wollongong Wolves. So it's been a more measured approach with the reinforcements tonight. And that is looking shrewd at the moment. As Farakoko is waiting to receive a cross on the right-hand side. The back heel, Van der Sar bends the ball in. And it will find eventually the feet of Farakoko. Perhaps not where he wanted the ball to find him. Farakoko was guilty of being a little bit too clever there. It's getting really scrappy as we get into the final 10. Sydney Olympic are going to get a set-piece opportunity as they look to rescue a game that they once led some 76 minutes ago now. Oh, Ruiz Diaz went direct and that one's into the back fence. We're talking about the zany nature of Patrick Svanswijk's substitutions. Just a confirmation, of course, that the 2 players who did make their way onto the field were 2 young faces in Maxwell Pengelly and Ryan Devine. And it's Devine with work to do, because if there's one thing you don't want to see as a defender, it's a fresh-legged Dylan Ruiz Diaz right up your shoulder. Qual. No one home. Those crosses are going to need to stick for Olympic if they are to pull this one back from the brink. Armson. Ruiz Diaz. And Hong with a poor pass. Can Manly United see this one out, having come back from behind to lead? And then re-emerging from 2-all to take the ascendancy through Darcy Burgess. Armson. It's a scooper, and it's not really to the advantage of a teammate. Rossello. Just got his foot caught in the turf. The referee will pull back for the earlier infringement. Josh Hong is coming off here. Gianni DiPizio, his replacement. So 4th consecutive appearance off the bench for Gianni DiPizio. Second season at Olympic, former Mariners and Wanderers youth player. He's gone 42 top flight NPL New South Wales appearances without scoring. This is 40. Well, he's gone 41 going into tonight. This is 42nd. It would be a good time to break that drought. Kiwanyo. Can they put this one to bed, Manly United? Van der Sarg. It's back to Kiwanyo. Perez takes a touch but works out. Do they just want to run it into the corner? Have they given up a ghost of a 2-goal buffer, Manly? They'll chew up any time they can. And now the openings might arrive! There it is! For Manly United. Lucas Meek makes it a sure thing. And aren't the Manly bench delighted with that? And the players on the field. And they were biding their time in the corner, Manly. It was a bait and switch. Looked like they were going to chew down the seconds. But the opening arrived, and Lucas Meek was the man who was in the right place at the right time to get his first goal since the game against Wollongong Wolves. And you would imagine it's sealed Manly United's first win since that game against the Wollongong Wolves. Never say never in a game that's had 6 goals and a couple of lead changes, but I did feel, based on what Olympic have offered in the second half, that they were probably playing for, well, not playing for a 3-all draw, but capable of just a 3-all draw. A 2-goal buffer with 4 minutes plus stoppage time to come is a very tall task. It's robust and rough defending by Donny Gurdic, and he picks up a ticket. Manly will be all too happy to chew up this time, see the seconds away. They can just about reach out and touch a return to the top 6 to end the weekend. Olympic will have to pull out something Herculean if they were to rescue it here. And so the upshot of this is that as things stand, of course, Wollongong Wolves have come back from behind to lead Mount Druitt 2-1. It's going to drop Olympic out of the top 6 and down to 8th, leapfrogged by both Manly and Wollongong. And a turn up for the books at the Elandon Sports Centre. It's into stoppage time. And the Mariners now 3-1 leaders against Rockdale. Who would have seen that coming? Is there a chance to add on the pain? Still plenty of enthusiastic runners further ahead of Jesse Perez. Pengelly. Meek just couldn't bring it under his spell. 4 minutes of stoppage time will be on the way when the clock strikes 90. No board on offer at Valentine Sports Park, but we've had confirmation from the fourth official, Matt Staples. So not a lot of time for Olympic to work with. Qual. The header is a wide one, and Demi can't even keep it alive. Everything coming up Manly at the minute. It's the kind of win, if they see this out, Manly, that you can build the remainder of a season on, potentially. Ryan Devine will pick up a yellow card for the delay tactics. It was a game that, going into it, you feel like both of these sides, their best football is still ahead of them in season 2025. And to that end, this could be a real platform upon which Manly could build. And if it is a platform upon which they can build and get more results, it's going to be a big couple of weeks for upset results, because up next, Marconi and Rockdale. A fearsome fortnight of football ahead for them. Hopeful ball, headed away by Aganovich. Parkhouse. Alex against shooting. Demi, it's cut into the area. And Manly, I'm not sure whether it was by intentional fortune, able to turn it away from danger at the expense of a corner. Ruiz Diaz doesn't get the desired purchase. Farrakoko was streaming forward in his own half, but Demi back to do the defensive work. Not where he wants to be, the Olympic attacker. Gordon, it's a good cross. Tenqual couldn't get a touch. And there are some Olympic fans heading for an early exit at VSP. I think they know now that the race in this game is probably run. And in truth, they probably haven't been at their best in this second half. It's Manly who's been able to sustain a little bit more of that first half energy, and other than hitting the crossbar, Olympic just haven't found the gears often enough as they look to chase this game. It's Meek across Farrakoko! Well, if the points weren't safe before, they certainly are now. Farrakoko puts the icing on the cake, and Manly United will end the weekend in the top six and back in the winner's circle. 5-2, the scoreline at Valentine Sports Park. And Farrakoko steps up and delivers a delightful first-time finish off the bench. He's got a curious relationship with his substitutes, Patrick Zvansvijk, but he can make as many as he wants at once if they're going to come on and do things like that. Consolation territory now for Olympic. Free kick awarded. And that's a fourth of the season for Farakoko. This will be such a confidence lifter. After 180 minutes of football, they'd only managed to score one goal. Manly's attack, when it works, is so devastating. And we wondered what Manly would turn up today. Well, it's the one that can play absolutely brilliant football at their best, as they win a 7-goal thriller to end the weekend at Valentine Sports Park. 5-2, Manly United win it against Sydney Olympic. And how different this game could have been with its constant ebb and flow. It looked good for Olympic early doors. They led in the opening 4 minutes through Cyrus Demi, only for Manly United to come back from behind in the blink of an eye. 2 goals in the space of 4 minutes from Harry van der Sarg and Tiger Kawanyo. Saw Manly take the lead. The drama was so far from done even after the hot start. Cyrus Demi got a double to make it 2-2 at the break, and then Manly United found the gears that Sydney Olympic weren't able to match in the second stanza. Darcy Burgess getting a goal against his old side to put Manly into the lead, and with a lead to defend, that's how United could really pile on the pressure. Lucas Meek and Farakoko making the points safe, as Patrick Svansweig and his side will head back to Cromer with their spirits lifted and 3 points in the bag. A statement made to the rest of NPL New South Wales, and a great way to end the weekend's action. We sign off from Valentine Sports Park. From myself, Lockie Flanagan, and from the Sportscast team bringing this game to you, it's goodbye for now. The full-time score, Sydney Olympic 2, Manly United 5.